Oh, cool. New Age of Sigmar starter box is out.
Maybe you should paint the Stormcast you already have.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now, for those of you who know me, you will know that Age of Sigmar is a game I have really struggled to get into. I was such a huge fan of the old world and 8th edition fantasy. I just love those square bases, and when it all got blown up and Age of Sigmar started, it was just a game I just wasn't interested in playing. However, that hasn't stopped me buying loads and loads of Age of Sigmar models. As we've discussed previously on this channel, I have a bit of a problem for just buying stuff that I have no intention of using. A few of my friends have told me that 4th edition Age of Sigmar, which has just come out, I think the pre-order was yesterday, it's a great jumping on point for the system. And you know what, I thought it's an excuse to paint up some of these Stormcast models that I have, and even if I never actually play Age of Sigmar, the models are really cool and they work great for loads of other systems. They're just big, armored, fantasy, paladin, knight style guys. If you enjoy this video, give us a like. Let me know down below if you play Age of Sigmar, if you've got any tips or tricks for new players, because I definitely need them. And yeah, hit all the buttons, do all the YouTube stuff, and I hope you enjoy. I found a good mix of 1st, 2nd and 3rd edition Stormcast in a big pile in a box in the shed, and they took me a little while to sort through. So this is what I managed to pull out of that big pile of Stormcast. And it kind of looks like an army. I don't know if it is an army, but oh, yeah, we've got some elites, got some big hammer guys, got some flappy wing guys, judicators I think those are called. Now, I do know that these chaps are going to be not discontinued. Well, I think they are being discontinued. They will have rules and support for the first half of the next edition, but to be honest, a Stormcast with a big hammer and a shield is a Stormcast with a big hammer and a shield, so I'll probably just use these guys as whatever the equivalent unit is. I'm not going to be going to any big fancy tournaments, so these will be, is it Liberators, I think they're called? I don't know what their name is currently, but they will be, I'll just count them as Judicators, or Liberators, or whatever they're called. Anyway, big hammer and shield guys. Right, I'm going to just kind of clean these up, and we'll get them sprayed. So after a bit of tidying up and some spraying, this is where we are. I decided to work at 1,000 point list. I feel like 1,000 points is enough to get me started with the game. This is of course 1,000 points in 3rd edition Age of Sigmar, because I don't have the 4th edition rulebook or anything, but I can't imagine it's going to change dramatically. So the force is led by this wizard, and then we've got banner bearer, we've got a couple of units of regular troops, and then some more elite looking guys here. I decided to leave Indastra out for now because I think she's probably a bit too many points for a small game. I don't really know how the rules work, but I feel like a big special character like that maybe doesn't have a place in 1,000 points, but we'll definitely add her in later. I wanted to go for a really crusty, rusty look on these Stormcast. I imagine them being out in the wilderness, fighting for years and years. Their armor's not getting repaired, and they're just kind of making do with what they have. I was inspired by the works of John Blanche for this. I know Blanchitsu is a very popular painting style at the minute. Realistically, it's just slapping a load of sepia on things, but don't tell all the fanboys that. I did actually very little brushwork on these models. It was mostly sponging. I started with Rhinox Hide and then moved up to Vallejo's Saddle Brown, I think it's called. I then did a pretty heavy dry brush with bone on the cloth and then dulled it all back down with a really heavy sepia wash from, I think it is called Vallejo's Game Wash Dipping Formula. Sorry, I was just turning around to have a look at it on my desk behind me. Once the wash had all dried off, I slapped loads and loads of typhus corrosion onto everything. It's great for just adding a bit more texture and a little bit more grime and gunk. One tip I would always give when you're using typhus corrosion is use a very, very old brush that you don't care about, because this stuff wrecks brushes. It was then a matter of just going back over with the sponge with some silver and orange, just to really make the rust pop in a few places. I made sure to put extra silver around the edges of the weapons, because I figured that those would be getting smacked into enemies and it would knock the rust off and you'd see the metal underneath. I then just went back over and picked out a few details. I did the crests and the little gem bottles that some of the guys were carrying in red, and the wolf cloak fur in grey, and then went back over with a lighter grey with a dry brush, just to make the models look like they were more than just big brown blobs. I tried something a little bit new for the basing. I got some tea that obviously, had been in tea bags and then boiled and whatever. And then once we'd drunk the tea, I dried out all of the tea in the oven on a very low temperature to make this kind of almost forest floor mulch. To finish off, I just put some tufts and patches of snow on the bases and called it a day. For models that were sitting basically unloved in a box, I'm pretty pleased with how this army turned out. It took me about 4 hours, not including drying time and waiting for PVA to set and things like that. And I think they don't look too awful. I certainly wouldn't be embarrassed to put them on the table. And I'm actually quite excited to try them out in Age of Sigmar 4th edition, and to just maybe even add some more units to the army. I've got Indastra and I've got some spear and shield guys, and I think that'll flesh the army out to round about 2k. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye!